Okay, so then Buffalo. This is the craziest thing that we saw this year. So here's the craziest thing for me.
Okay.
So I'm walking here in town, walking around down by the water, right?
Okay.
By the harbor, Gig Harbor, right?
Yeah.
We live in the water. And just walking along, and this guy comes up to me, and he's pretty normal looking, but there's something about it. You kind of go like, a little odd. And he hands me an envelope. And I'm like, I don't even want to take it. You know what I mean?
Is this
He's wearing a
anthrax
mask.
or a
I'm
nice
not.
milk? Yeah.
He's wearing a mask. I'm not, because we're outside. You don't have to here, right? So then he goes, and he just goes, there you go, and something. And blah, 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 I don't quite get it. And he walks off, and I'm like, oh boy, do I even open this? And I open it up. 5 crisp $100 bills.
No way. Welcome to the Everyday Disciple podcast, where you'll learn how to live with greater intentionality and an integrated faith that naturally fits into every area of life. In other words, discipleship as a lifestyle. This is the stuff your parents, pastors, and seminary professors probably forgot to tell you. And now, here's your host, Caesar Kalinowski.
All right, except it's not just Caesar Kalinowski by himself today. Way to start talking about myself in the third person, but I'm with, I told you I'd have some special guests here to help me wrap up this crazy year, and I do. I try to keep my word. My yes is usually a yes, so Heath Hollinsby is with me, kind of a
buddy.
Tradition.
This is a tradition.
Yeah.
You're 4? You're 5? Like,
This is our 4th year-end recap, I think. Right, and so even though you're not on the show every week anymore,
yeah.
I had to have you back to do that.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so awesome. So,
good.
we're gonna tell you what Heath's been up to and what we've been doing and learning and some stuff ahead. And yeah, we're gonna have a fun time. You're gonna like this. You might even learn something. Who knows? But I also have another special guest, and you've heard her before. And we like to lovingly refer to her as the Tina.
That's right. I am the Tina, which, that oddly enough, people will come up to me and say, wait, are you the Tina? I'm like, yes.
And what they mean by that is Tina, my wife. And so if we're out on the road training or whatever, and it's like, oh, this is Tina. Like, the Tina? Yeah. So if you happen to be listening to the Everyday Disciple podcast for the very first time ever, probably not, but who knows? Maybe you are. This is the Tina, my wife of a million years and love of my life. So she is on here also to kind of help us recap the year and talk a little bit about the year ahead, I guess, right? Woo. So I mentioned this on the last episode, I believe it was, but this year, 2021, has been the year of limbo. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because like just when we were just getting ready, Heath, you were saying, remember last year when we were wrapping up and we're going like, wow, it seems like this COVID thing's probably going to finally start to come to an end.
And a year later, it's like, here comes a new variant.
Wow. I don't, Are they going to have to just keep making up variants to keep like wringing money out of...
Maybe. We're going to be like the that film, like in E.T., where everyone's in like plastic tunnels and tubes, and like that might be what's next.
Yeah, I've got some neighbors that live that way. No. Already. All right. No, but it's been like this crazy year of limbo because I feel like everybody's like, oh, here we are. We're getting back to some sort of, no, we're not.
Yeah.
And then like, hey, we can start doing this again. No, we really can't.
Yeah.
Or even if you can, people feel like, oh, we can't or no one will want to. We talk about this in coaching all the time. Like, hey, did you guys kick back in doing your barbecues and all? Well, I don't think everybody's ready for that yet. I'm like, and you know how?
Yeah.
Or
even friends that like I went for drinks the other night with some friends, and it was like hard to get them out of the house because now they're just so used to like, it's just easier to do it at home. Go get a bottle of something, sit at home versus show a card and have this, and I forgot my mask, and the mask's in the car. Like
I got to tell you, this is kind of an upgrade maybe to the program with all of the movie theaters getting shut down last year, and now they're back open. But everybody went like, yeah, but I got that 70-inch TV now.
Yeah,
right. Because that was
glasses,
it, right? Yeah. So even though theaters are back open, and we've been kind of holding our breath for the new Matrix movie to come out, because like we're a huge Matrix family.
Okay.
Like that's the first Matrix. That's our favorite movie, probably across the board. Wow. Maybe not my daughters, but definitely Tina and I. The Tina and I and our son.
And our son.
And so we were talking about it last night, and all of a sudden, like in the screensaver of our Xfinity TV cable thing, it said Matrix, the new one, Resurrection or whatever, available now on HBO Max. I'm like, that comes with our subscription. And I said, no, I'm going to go there and it's going to be $30 or something.
Yeah.
No, it started playing. I clicked on it.
No way.
Yep. So I was like, oh, I'm not ready. It was already like 9 o'clock. I'm like, no, it's a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for
commit.
15, 18 years or whatever it's been. I am, yes. So
Wow.
We
maybe
will be watching.
it'll be tonight or tomorrow. So
Good
I thought about
move,
watching it
HBO
this
Max.
morning. Let's get up early, honey, and watch the new Matrix.
Christmas morning, man. That's how you're going to start it off.
So, yeah. So what have you been up to this year, Heath? People hear from me all the time. They kind of know what's going on. Though I'm going to talk about some things that kick back in. What's been some big movements for you and the Hollinsby clan in 2021?
Well, lots of it. I mean, we haven't moved much just because we've kind of been home. Job stuff's changed. I started a company, which is fun. That's new and fun and birthed out of me just going, I'm going to not do this game anymore. I'm going to start my own thing. And
as hard as it's going to be, it's going to be so great.
Yeah, like
because you're going to run it, and this year's going to be a tough year. I'm just going to tell you, as you know, Tina and I've done this a couple times.
It's like having a baby.
Yeah.
Or getting a puppy. So it's not going to be the easiest thing.
I'm so proud of you.
But the long
Thanks,
term.
man. I come over and I see it's like 2 in the afternoon on a Wednesday and you're in your pajamas still, and I'm like, I want this life.
So if anybody wants their windows cleaned in all 50 states, Heath, no,
I will
you're
travel.
not doing that.
Yeah, private jet.
I'm joking. He's not doing that.
So that's new.
What are you doing? People are probably wondering.
Yeah. So I started an agency called the Meraki Agency, and that was birthed out of having worked in marketing for the last couple of years and just growing disoriented with how crowded and chaotic the digital market advertising side of things is. And as you know, we're story-formed people. And so I wanted to work with organizations, nonprofits, charities, churches, and really tell like the heart of what they're doing. So rather than marketing like, 50% off for 5 days,
right.
I want to go like, this is why we exist. This is who we are. This is why we were formed. We were birthed out of this pain. Whatever that story is.
Yeah.
And really tell 3 to 5 minute short mini documentaries on the existence and the purpose of organizations. So that's what we do. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. So we'll have to talk price later. You can do one for the Everyday Disciple podcast.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Depending if it's 3 to 5 minutes, we'll need how many of them to equal an episode now.
That'll be a lot. No, we'll make it happen, man. So I've been doing that and traveling a little bit, and
travel did open back up, and I know just from you talking to you, but also from watching your Instagram feed, you've either been ganking lots of really awesome photos from Google and posting them as if they're your own, or you've been a few cool places.
Yeah, I've done some really cool travel. That'll be something high that the high of the year was getting to go on a trip with my wife. It was necessary and it was needed and it was a beautiful place. And then because it was on the heels of not traveling at all last year, it just you know what it's like when you get on a plane. As much of a nightmare as TSA is, when you finally land where you want to go, it's like, this feels good to be able to do this again.
Yeah, it's been weird getting back to traveling because last year, I think we did one little short 2-day trip or something. Like there was a little window or something that opened up or whatever. Or was that earlier this year when we went to Phoenix, Tina? Was that this?
That was earlier this year.
Oh my God. It feels like 5 years ago.
Seriously, in January.
What is a year
February.
anymore?
But that had been the first travel in like 11 and a half months or something.
Yeah.
And Tina and I travel a lot, training and coaching, right, and all that stuff. And there's been years where I'm on the road 50% of the time. Not so much we've clamped that down because the grandbabies are here now. Yeah. But finally, things have opened back up, and it's been a little bit weird. And I have to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure that I like it.
Really?
I loved being in the groove of like, wow, I have slept in my own bed for months now.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of like, I have times when there's a week when I go like, literally, I've slept in 4 time zones. I started out in Europe, and then I landed here in the States on the East Coast, had a couple things to do, Midwest gig, and then I'm home now. Or something like that. And you're like, what in the heck? So in many ways, now I'm getting back into it, but I have been the #1 mask-wearing hater of the whole COVID, era.
Oh, sure.
I can't take it. Like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm just like I have a pillow over my head.
And that's like the good and bad of traveling right now, because to get anywhere on a plane, at least, you have to wear a mask. But then oftentimes when you get to that place, the masks come off, which that does not happen here.
Yeah, like we were just in Texas, and they're like, masks. Was it Halloween?
Cute diaper on your face.
Yeah. No, so
Seriously.
you feel so free.
Tennessee, Florida.
And even though you're supposed to technically wear them in the airports, usually when you get to a city where they don't have a mask thing going on, it's about 30% of people wear a mask, and the rest of the people are like, go ahead and say something, try it. Like they're not.
I dare you.
They're not. So you're like, that's part of our years. We've been back on the road getting to train again and equip.
Sure.
And that part I love. That's the best thing we get to do. Our coaching we love, of course, but getting to be face to face with a whole lot of the people that we do coach and train.
I know you're telling me about your going and who you're seeing, and I'm like, oh, they're friends. Tell them hello.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what's weird
the
though
Terrys,
is like we've run into a bunch of people this year that we've been coaching for like 2 years, never saw them face to face.
oh wow,
Right? Because that happens sometimes because
Yeah.
we're coaching, on Zoom and all. But generally, because people come and stay with us,
Yeah.
that we're coaching, you're all invited. Even you listeners, you want to come in Seattle and visit, come say hi. But so it's really weird being back on the road, but also getting to like hug somebody in person the first time.
Sure.
And it's like kind of like I know you, but I've never met you.
Yeah, I didn't think about
More
that.
than even normal.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, that sensation in the past, but it feels that way. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm loving the travel, but I would say since things opened back up, maybe mid-year, we've been on the road at least every month.
Wow.
At least once or
Yeah.
twice, kind of. So
Do you ever get that itch? Like, so when, our background both has us touring. I like with Kathleen, there's times where I'm like, babe, I don't know what's going on with me, but I have to leave this city. Like, I have to get out of here for a day or two. It's that itch. Do you have that?
I will tell you this. I'm starting to get the weather itch that I've never had here in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody complains, it rains so much, which is not really true.
It's not true. Yeah.
However, winter is kind of just gray and drizzly, but it's 45 all winter.
Sure.
And I'm from Chicago, so I feel like that's about 45 degrees warmer,
Yeah, exactly.
than half my winters. So, but what I never felt it ever bearing down, like, it's so many gray days because of the travel. It's like,
Sure.
well,
It breaks it up.
I'm out of town every other week or something,
Yeah.
and half the time at least I'm going somewhere warm.
Sure.
And so I haven't felt since moving here that big bearing down of the grayness or anything
Yeah.
like that. I would say this year probably only because I it's been home a lot more
Yeah.
in these gray months now. I mean, it was a beautiful summer, right?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like from May,
Little hot at times.
May to
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was
Yeah.
like months and months and months of zero rain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the grass would prove that, But I'm starting to feel more than I ever have in the past.
Are you too? Are you as well?
I actually really miss the traveling. I am a traveler.
More than
I
me.
would I tried to convince Caesar the other day. I'm like, hey, someone's playing in Kansas City tonight. There's a flight. We could get on the flight in 2 hours and be there. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And Caesar's like, what?
Well,
yeah, come on,
we had
let's
canceled
go.
2 or 3 things that day because she was a little under the weather and not sure what it was.
That's
Oh,
true.
sure.
And I was like,
That
wait
is
a minute.
true.
We canceled that for those people, but we'll go ahead and jam ourselves onto a plane now for 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And then she tried to blame me, like, you never want to be spontaneous. I'm like, what? Don't say that. I wasn't sick. We actually had the next day off. We could have, really.
But I do have to send Caesar off sometimes. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
can tell when he's getting a little stir crazy. So, like this last summer, I sent him to go stay with my brother and sister-in-law down in Florida for like a week.
Well, now you're dipping into something. Say,
Okay.
so you're already dipping in. So we did this last year. I think
Okay.
it's becoming a tradition as well. We got to do our high-low buffalo from the past year.
Okay.
Okay. So for those who are listening who don't know, one of the things we like to do at our table, and we just do it in communities, we used to do it called high-lows, and you do your high-low, like what's the best part of your day or the week?
Sure.
And then low, what was the worst thing that happened or, you felt bad about or whatever. But then somewhere along the line, someone with your coach said, we do high-low buffalo, and they add the buffalo part, which is like, what's buffalo? Well, it rhymes, so it sounds fun, but it's the weirdest thing you've seen. Like, it's rare. you know?
Yeah.
Like, buffaloes don't show up very often. So he was like, so now we've kind of upgraded, and we do high-low buffalo. Like, best thing that happened this year, then we're going to do it for the year.
Yep.
Worst thing, low, and then buffalo. It's the craziest thing. Now, last year, I have to. It's going to be hard to top this, Heath. Last year, if you guys are long-term listeners, Heath's crazy buffalo thing, he blew me out of the water. I don't even remember what mine was, but he found a shrimp in a can of 7-Up.
Yeah, when I was sick.
And he can't even remember. He can't still believe it. He told me today he's going to ask God how that happened. When he
That's my number one question. I'm not like, hey, like even if he's like, hey, you're going the other
I don't
place.
fully
I'd be like,
need
okay,
to
but
understand this substitutionary atonement at this point because I'm with you. So, but that shrimp in the 7-Up can thing is still kind of a mystery. So
if he's like, hey, you just missed it with making it into this good place, so I got to send you down south, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Can I ask one last question?
all right,
the
T.
shrimp.
All right,
Can I get my
before
7-Up?
I go,
Not even a peeled shrimp, like a grocery store, like an actual live, or not live,
Like-
but it was like a full-bodied, head-on,
Whole
tentacles.
shrimp.
that
in
had
my
to be
7-Up.
someone at the. Anyway, so that was last year. So so let's do our high-low buffalo. I'll go first. So
Okay.
the high for my year this year, and it's been a really great year. I have to say that. So I had to think hard about this. My high for the year was our youngest, our daughter Justine got married.
Oh yeah,
And that
recently,
is
yeah.
awesome. If your kids want to be married,
Yeah.
and ours all did, she had wanted to. And of course, there's no good guys in Tacoma, or
Sure.
it's never going to happen. And that's what Kristen thought until she met Daniel, the love of her life, and he's awesome. My goodness,
He's great.
And so Justine got married to Ben, and she was like, "Oh, I don't even know how it's going to be not be a Kalinowski. I can't handle this." Well, guess what? Ben is a Zelinsky.
Oh, close enough.
So she's like, "That's pretty cool."
I think it's an upgrade because Z is a cool letter.
Yeah,
you know?
So it's Team Z,
Yeah.
and so anyway, so that's the high. It was the really beautiful ceremony on his parents' farm, and like it's a farmette, but it's like all super landscaped and twinkle lights and
Gorgeous.
ponds.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous.
Animals, and it was beautiful.
Here in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Olympia.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So that was my high. Should I do high, low, and my buffalo, or should we go around and do our highs?
Let's go around. We'll
Okay.
stay on
So
theme.
Tina,
All right.
what was your high this year?
So my high this year could have been a low, but it was not because I had a very significant birthday this year. Let's just say most people would not want to admit to this birthday number.
Hard turning 40, honey. Hard turning 40. Oh, oops.
Oh, yeah. But my brother, the one from Florida, actually flew out here with his wife, who I
Hey,
just
Dave,
love
I know
to
you
pieces.
listen. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
We love you, brother.
And they rented a huge, beautiful home in the mountains near here, just a couple hours
lake.
away. And then arranged so our whole family got to come out, all our kids and stuff got to come out for the weekend on my birthday to celebrate.
It was like 2
my
or 3
birthday.
nights
Yeah.
on this mountain cabin, or not cabin, house, like monster house.
Beautiful,
Giant,
gorgeous
everything,
house.
super appointed, game room, hot tub, sauna, on the lake. It was.
And we just
Wow.
cooked together
Yeah.
and hung out.
Okay,
We
that's
did
my
go
high,
out for
too.
one night. We went out on my birthday to a really cool little local resort place, and that was awesome. But honestly,
really high end,
really amazing.
That was a really nice meal. Yeah,
But then really just hanging out and cooking together and just hanging together was really
kind of
it was-
Team K at our best. That stuff we were really good
Yeah.
at hanging.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
But now there's all the grandkids running around too, and it's fun. And
It's a different environment, right, than it was
Yeah.
5 years ago.
They're,
Oh my
they're
goodness.
just
Yeah.
funny and fresh, and then of course having Dave and his wife Debbie with us, they're the best. And so, but they made that whole thing happen for us. What a
Yeah.
gift to the family, but
That
for
was
her
huge.
birthday. So
Yeah, it made what could have been a really not so fun birthday into a really amazing time.
she can't wait to turn 40 again.
Yeah, and Dave,
So at 80, we're gonna do that again. So.
Dave, my birthday is October 9th. If you're curious. yeah. That's,
How about you? What's the high of this year? Like you go high, low, buffalo. What's your high?
yeah. So I was walking this morning, making the list,
Okay.
and there was 2 that popped out. One was just a personal, like I got my doctorate, and which is, writing a
That's
200-page
right.
dissertation. That's a lot, and so.
And I'm still waiting for you to take that off of your Facebook name or,
Nope,
or
it's staying.
Instagram.
My wife's like, you paid for it, you earned it, you put it on. And I'm
Well,
like,
I'm gonna keep asking you what to do about that sore knee. I
I know, I can't prescribe. I wish. So that was a
That
highlight
is so
because it was a
awesome,
big
brother.
accomplishment.
I know you worked hard on that.
Yeah, I worked a lot.
I mean, you really did.
Yeah, but I think my favorite, if you were to what was your favorite, happiest, best moment of this year? Me and my wife got to go to the last state I hadn't been to, which was Alaska, and
That
I
was
sold
some
a
of those
client
killer
up there.
photos.
Yeah.
that you were, yeah.
We were in Juneau. That was the last state that I hadn't been to, and I thought I'm just going to sell a contract up here because I want to go visit, and so I did. And we spent a week in Juneau, and we did this Tracy Arm Fjord tour of the glaciers, and there's whales, and it was. You and I, we've all been around. We've traveled quite a bit.
I have never been to Alaska either.
But it was
I have.
71 countries, 50 states now. Probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's
So-
what we keep hearing.
Oh.
And that giant chunk of glacier you brought back has been so good in our
In our
drinks
Manhattans,
this year.
yeah.
Just chipped off. It's crystal clear.
The neighbors are mad it's still in the driveway.
amazing.
But that was it was just her and I. We don't get that much anymore with the kids, and just to go and have no cell service and just be together and then celebrating
No
the
cell
beauty.
service.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's so awesome. Good on you guys, because that's really, it's an investment
Yeah.
in your marriage, but it's an investment in your family and really
How
in
about
your
some fun?
community. That's
okay.
amazing.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a nice handoff to. We'll go to low. So that was our highs. Here's the lows. I'll go first. Here's my low for the year.
Okay.
We got no real vacation this year.
Ooh.
Tina and I. Okay.
Yeah.
We had a few little things, couple days, here we go there and spend a night or two there. But like, it was kind of like just wedged in, or
Sure.
like we tack a day on to like a, work trip or something.
Yeah.
But, and I did get to go down and hang out with Dave, her brother, in Florida for a few days, but not together. And it was a red tide down there. We go to boat.
Those are awesome.
We go to boat. No, they're not, because you can't fish.
No, but at nighttime they're beautiful.
Oh, well, I don't. It's stinky and weird because there's a million dead fish floating around, so you don't fish.
Yeah, it is weird.
And I kind of primarily go to fish, and see my brother there. But anyway, so that would be my low this year, is because we're pretty good about trying to queue up rest before we fill our schedule.
Yeah.
We really failed at that this year.
Yeah.
We did actually do the planning. We just stuff like, I think someone got sick on one of those we had to cancel, and then maybe the wedding date messed up one of those, and you're happy to do that. Anyway, it didn't really happen. We got a little bit here, we got a little bit there, and I mean, we live a wonderful life. I'm just saying, but that's the low, is that we really need some vacation. Now, little silver lining here. Next week we go on vacation back down to Florida, and we're taking our oldest grandson Patton for his first grandma and grandpa only trip.
Ooh, that'll even at his age, he'll remember that forever.
Yeah, he's 5 now.
He's got this.
So this might be. I'm already have the high for next year. It could be this.
Yeah,
trip.
it could be this.
Because he we were asking him the other day. It's like, what are you most looking forward to? And he loves his Uncle Dave. Her brother Dave's like a big knucklehead.
We're going
He's
to go
everybody's
see Uncle Dave.
Funnest uncle.
Yeah.
He's just silly and funny. He always has been. He's the best, right? And he really gives himself to the kids, and they
great.
love him for it, right? Yeah. And he enjoys it, and they enjoy him. So he's stoked. So what are you most looking forward to? Patton says, swim in Uncle Dave's pool. And we said, and go on his boat. And he's like, he's less sure of that because he's not 100% sure about boats. But I know if we get him on that boat and he sees dolphins, which is pretty much every time,
he'll want to live on the boat.
Yeah, he's going to live on the boat. So maybe we'll sleep on the boat one night or something. But anyway, that was my kind of low. Not enough real rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I am so dying for like no cell phone and like a week or two of beaching.
Yeah, like I've queued up everything.
We were talking about today, like I don't think week vacations work for us anymore. We, at this point in our life and busyness and like just focus and intensity of ministry and business, we need 2-week vacations.
Totally.
A week to scrape off.
Yeah, that's just detox.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a week to enjoy it, you know, and maybe a couple days on the end to like get ready to work again. It's not work in this jam, like work your guts out to the minute you get on a plane and then come home. And literally I'm on the plane, like writing the next podcast and recording it that night. You know, it's like.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my low. What about you? What was the low this year?
Yeah, I think a low for me was just trying to. I mean, it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's just life in this world right now. It's raising kids in a pandemic where it feels like there's no end in sight. And I remember I took the family to go see a movie in the theater, and one of the trailers was like a 2 people meeting in a grocery store, and my daughter like yelled out in the theater like, "Oh, they're not wearing masks!" And it was like,
oh my.
It was kind of a sacred moment. Like it was
like
kind of like that, like
moment?
like out of the mouth of babes sort of thing. Like that is all she knows. And me doing walks and seeing people like move into the street because it looks like I have TV.
I just had a moment of that the other day. We were at Patton's little Christmas sing-along thing at school. You know, he's just in preschool.
Sure.
And he's on stage, and he's got his mask under his chin but still hooked to his ears like most of the kids do.
Yeah.
And as he's walking off, without missing a beat, looking at it, or even thinking about it, he just reaches under his chin, grabs the mask and goes poink and, pops it back onto his mouth like a pro, like he's done it
30
for
years.
2 years out of his 5 years of life. And I was a little sad.
Yeah, that's what's got me down.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like, I want to be over this.
Yeah, and now at the end of the year going like, maybe we're out of it, and going,
here comes another round. Here. Okay, where no masks are harmed during the recording of this podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true. No masks.
Okay, Tina, the low. What was your low for 2021?
Well, my birthday could have been a low. It wasn't a low, though. It was
we already
amazing.
discussed that. It was awesome.
It was awesome. I think probably my low goes along with yours in that, like, I just feel, and it's not so much, I mean, yes, not getting vacations hugely, just not being able to do things because of all the restrictions. Like, we have the opportunities to travel to a lot of places if things were not weird like they are, And so, like, every time we want to go somewhere because of COVID or because of, how all these travel restrictions and stuff, it's like you just feel like you're constantly you can't, oh, well, we could do this, we could do all this, except, we can't do it because of this. And you know what, I was thinking about this the other day. It kind of feels like, I think, what some people must have felt like under the communist regime. Like, I never realized this before, but where they couldn't just go on vacation because they wanted to go. They had to get clearance from 100 different things. And
I don't think we're not experiencing living under communism.
No, but it's just all these hoops that we have to jump through now that we've never had to do in the past.
We are so social. And so raging extrovert that even that decrease, though we kind of roll through it.
Yeah.
We're starting to realize, there's all this crazy divorce and depression out there. And that's like, well, praise God, that's not our story.
Yeah.
But, it's taken more of a toll on us, I think, than we know.
Yeah. I think so.
And I think added on to that, and this is probably my real big low, is that I injured my knee in March. Yeah. And that has put a huge kink in all of the rest of everything. That's probably the biggest low. Yeah.
Because your normal ease of flitting around and being super grandma and everything else, it's a little...
Can't lift up my grandkids, and I can't really walk a whole lot. And
when we get that new bionic knee in there.
Come on, Elon Musk, design one.
Ready.
Right?
I'm ready.
Okay, so then Buffalo. This is the craziest thing that we saw this year. So here's the craziest thing for me.
Okay.
So I'm walking here in town, walking around down by the water, right?
Okay.
By the harbor, Gig Harbor, right?
Yeah.
We live in the water. And just walking along, and this guy comes up to me, and he's pretty normal looking, but there's something about it. You kind of go like, a little odd. And he hands me an envelope. And I'm like, I don't even want to take it. You know what I mean?
He's wearing a mask.
I'm not. He's wearing a mask. I'm not, because we're outside. You don't have to here, right? So then he goes, and he just goes, there you go, and something, blah, 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 I don't quite get it. And he walks off, and I'm like, oh boy, do I even open this? And I open it up, 5 crisp $100 bills.
No way.
Nah, it's not true. You're right.
I was going to say, where is he? When was this? And where is he?
I don't have a buffalo. That would have been crazy, right? That'd have been high, maybe. No, I couldn't think of a buffalo. I'm sorry, I just made one up. I couldn't think of anything really crazy this year. We did see Bigfoot out in the woods here behind our house.
I was like, that'd be amazing too.
It's not even real, but we saw that, and he was getting off the spaceship, the UFO. He landed. No, I don't have a buffalo. I'm sorry, and I think it's partly I couldn't think of one because I was living in the shadow of finding a shrimp in a 7-Up can. I can't count that. I don't know. I like.
It's weird, man. That's a history.
So, and do you have one? What was your buffalo for the year? Like your craziest?
Yeah.
thing?
So I was thinking about that on the walk today too, and I thought, Tacoma's just one of those things where I've seen a lot of weird stuff this year, but it's also Tacoma. Like, people would
say something that I've seen too. Go ahead.
I'll tell you a weird thing. I'll tell you a buffalo thing that when I describe it, people look at me like I'm a foreign entity, and it's. I did this water fast, 40 days, no food, just this pitcher of water, a gallon of alkaline water.
I remember we went to sporting events together and had meals together.
Yeah, I was like, no beer, no food, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then I broke it with some goat yogurt. I think we had something at yours.
Yes.
But
that was the first day you were here. I think with your goat yogurt, and you were stoked.
Yeah, I had some.
Hey, I get 3 teaspoons of this today.
Stevia on my goat. But to me, that was the weirdest. Because what's funny is I woke up. I don't tell people why I did this, but I woke up one morning, and you're supposed to ease into that, like 2 to 3 weeks of detox. And I woke up about to catch a flight, and I couldn't. My legs felt like paralyzed, and I was like, I gotta go on a fast. Well, I just slept weird the night before. Like, that's all it was. They're back to normal. But it spurred. Cold turkey, 40 days, no juice, no lemon in my water, just water and
ions.
Yeah, and they're like, how's that possible? I'm like, you had no problem doing it when Jesus did it. Like, why can't? Like, I literally just didn't eat for 40 days.
Now you're Jesus. All right.
I was gonna go 41 days just to one up him, but I couldn't. Yeah.
No.
So I think that was the weirdest. I've seen a lot of weird stuff, but that was one that when I tell people, everyone seems shocked. Like, wow, that was.
No, it's pretty rare, bro. I've done a little fasting in my life. I think maybe a week has been my record.
Yeah.
I have no desire, And
I drink my 7-Up, put a shrimp in it.
I'm kind of a skinny guy, though I'm kind of skinny fat. I could probably use a good fast.
No, you'd be fine.
But no, that was
a weird one.
That's kind of weird, but you also chose that. So
I can never one up the shrimp story. Like that.
Well, let's hope. Let's only hope.
Yeah, who knows what next year.
When we lived in New York, and a friend of ours had told us this early on, and it was true. He goes, "Oh, you're going to have plenty of what we call New York moments." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You'll know."
Oh.
And it was once a week you'd get some really crazy thing you'd run into, or some person dressed like who knows what, like a circus clown,
Happen all the
space
time.
alien,
Really?
Seriously.
a priest wearing a fright wig, or I mean, it's just the weirdest stuff. Or people walk up to you and start to engage you in conversations that like you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but
And they're not like intentionally trying to be weird. They're just weird.
or like you're on the subway and they have like a couch or something because they're trying to get it home, and it's like totally illegal, but they just shove it in, and you're like, excuse me, could you pick up that end? Could you? Like there was, but every day almost it was like,
oh, that's bizarre.
There you wouldn't even call it a buffalo because it wasn't rare.
Yeah, you're just like, this is life.
We did do the couch, not on the subway. We just walked it down the street, but it was like a sectional couch. I mean, you remember the couch that we had in New York, and
big brown one.
Yeah,
so it
huge
was
one.
like all of these cushions and all these pieces, and we had it. There were only 3 of us, and so we were walking it from like 2 blocks away,
like a
back
parade.
and forth, and
Blocks
back
away.
and forth, and back and forth.
But
Yeah.
oddly enough, you're running into people moving their furniture while you're moving yours. It's like,
Yeah.
what is going
Yeah,
on?
it's not
That's
that
just New
bizarre.
York,
Anyway, what
right.
was your buffalo this year?
So my buffalo was. It's one of the weirdest experiences of my life, I have to say. I know, it was just kind of very odd. We were at an event and sitting in like a little
Like an auditorium kind of thing?
and some people that we kind of knew were next to us, and they had their kids there sitting there, and their youngest daughter and I were, like just had kind
How
of
old?
struck up this. She was probably, I don't know, I'm guessing around 2-ish, right?
2 or 3?
2, maybe 3. And so we were kind of playing together, and she was really captivated by my sparkly nails. And so
Sparkly nail polish.
Yeah, sparkly nail polish, right. So she's like grabbing my nails and looking at them and like turning them around and everything. And she's got a hold of my thumb and she's really looking at it. And all of a sudden she just leans over and licks my thumbnail.
Like it was candy.
Like it was like an ice cream cone or
Yeah.
candy.
It looked like candy.
Yeah,
or
sure.
something.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
like it looked, it's pink and glittery. It must taste good, right? So, and then she just like looked and back and kind of took another quick thing and then let it go, and off she went.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
What did the parents do?
I don't even think they noticed.
Oh yeah, because that'd be weird to
Yeah,
explain.
she was just sitting next to me, and so I don't even think they noticed. We were all just,
Mark
yeah.
Twain said the average person can go 3 months on a good compliment.
Yeah.
Tina got at least 3 months out of that. Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was so stoked. Like, the little kid licked my thumb. Like,
That sounds like something
That
like a
is
Curb Your
so
Enthusiasm
weird.
episode.
Yeah,
Right?
Like something weird like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
I know,
Exactly.
right? And there again, in the age of COVID,
It
you're
was
like, I don't know
so
what's
innocent
Yeah.
and so weird, and I was
It
like,
was
"Oh, she
perfect.
likes my nail polish.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
it
great."
was perfect.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
All right. We don't have to go too crazy deep here, but
Yeah.
this is also kind of a tradition, this question. What do you think you've learned about God or yourself this year? In the last year?
Yeah.
Good, a little introspective here. We're bringing
Yeah.
it down. We're bringing down the room. Right?
Yeah.
When we put the soundtrack in, Heath, make sure the music is appropriate.
Do you want to go? Do you know?
I would say the thing that I have learned, or that God has really made so much more evident to me this year, is how much He loves me. And I don't mean to just say, we go, yeah, God loves you, but like loves me in a way that is so far beyond anything I've ever imagined. And that I can do pretty much anything that's in front of me.
Without fear of it?
Without fear or without worry, or like that I am like that little child. And I guess maybe it's because of my grandkids and just like understanding the love that I have for them, and how like they, not to say that they can do no wrong, but like that they have a lot of choices. And sometimes I'm like, well, you can do this, or you can do this, or you can do this or this. And I don't care which one you do. I just want you to be happy doing that thing.
And I'll do it with you.
And
Yeah.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
And so, and I think I've really started to understand God's heart that way, that he, it's not like we have one path that we can walk, and it's only if we do the one thing that God's going to be happy. Like there are so many opportunities that we have to do things that God has created us for, uniquely gifted us for, and we can choose any of those, and He's going to love us and be with us all the way. And that's just taken so much pressure off of me, I think, just not feeling like, oh, I've got to make sure I'm doing the
you're saying
right
love, and what
thing.
I'm hearing is grace. It's just like you're like receiving that. You're like, I can just live in light of His favor,
Yeah.
His love for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to earn it or prove it. That's beautiful, honey.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Even though it sounds so simple, like God's love for me, it's like, are you kidding? That's like the hugest.
I think it goes from acknowledging love like in my head, like, yeah, I know God loves me, to like really feeling loved and feeling accepted regardless of what I do.
Yeah.
You know, like, and also feeling free to be able to do what God has created me to do with the utmost joy and experience, you know, all that joy while I'm doing it.
Even if it's like licking someone's finger, you know, like licking their nail.
Or being licked.
Or being licked, yeah.
I'll give you $50 next year if you lick somebody's nail. I mean, it's cute when you're a kid, but it's weird when you're an
Should've
adult.
done
It would have been weird.
Should have done it for 20, buddy. Okay, but you all heard it here. $50. All right, here it is right now. Go ahead. You didn't specify. You can lick mine.
The sparkly nail polish.
Oh, okay. I can work on that. All right. How about you, Heath?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a variation of what you were saying, but for me, and this sounds, what I'm about to say sounds very simple, but for me, this was the biggest mountain of my life.
Wow.
And it was learning to be kind to myself. Just, you know, I get that God loves me.
I'm resonating with that.
Yeah, like I get God loves me, but I also grew up in a, you know, pour yourself out constantly for others, serve others, at the point of not loving yourself or not protecting yourself or not treating yourself kindly. And so I had just done a lot of deep work this year. There's an old philosopher I've been really into named Alan Watts, who's talking about the importance of being present. And
for sure.
And most of my life is either looking and staring at the past, which is regret, or looking forward to the future.
Which you can't change. You can't do anything.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it. And worrying about the future. It's like, no, this is what we have. And so that had led me to going, okay, I'm going to be present. What's it look like to be a present parent where I don't have to correct every single bickering moment between my kids as if it's a morality police?
Yeah.
And just loving my kids and being kind to them. But I was always kind to others, and I never knew how to really be kind to myself. And so I've been trying to do a lot of that deep work of, you know, self-care, I think they call it, but really seeing the value of like, no, taking care of yourself, like eating healthy, getting exercise,
fasting for 40 days.
Yeah.
Holy
And
cow.
that started
Is that
it.
what I got to do to like love myself better? I hope that's not part of my list.
Just not, you know, like, and being not so hard on myself, like trying to see the grace for myself in the way that I think that God sees grace to me. Because I could always talk about somebody else seeing grace in me, but I could never figure out how to like turn that on myself. And so to being able to go like, I actually kind of like myself, and it's okay to.
Buddy, that is huge.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
That is
and it seems like 101. But
just recently, I feel like I started tapping me on that in the last couple of weeks. Like I read something where it said something about you. Think about this. Are you kind to yourself?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I am.
No, me neither.
You know. Yeah. And then I was like, it probably doesn't make me as kind to others.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm resonating with you.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Pray for me in that, you know?
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
I mean, serious. Like that's a huge one.
Yeah,
Both
and it's not
of those
like
are
you
huge.
get.
I want those.
It's not like you like. Well, I got 87% on that. No, this is a lifelong work. I mean, it's constantly like.
Yeah.
It's not like I figured it out back in 2021.
And there's a weird pragmatic edge to that, at least the way my brain processes it. It's like if God is completely in love with you, me, Tina, and completely kind. And you know,
sure.
Then why would we not? How could we hold ourselves to a higher standard than our Creator?
Totally.
Like, how weird is that?
And how many pastors do you know that are just burning out? Marriages falling apart. Don't know their kids. Like
pastors are not just people.
Yeah, just people. Yeah, I think I just worked a lot with the ministry side and go like, I've seen these guys declaring this from stages and they can't figure it out for themselves and. Like, that's not going to be me. So I either have to figure this thing out or I got to find something else.
Well, you heard it here first. Fast for 40 days. Learn how to love yourself.
Try my 40-day fasting plan.
So I just in the last couple of weeks, I've had that same kind of like I think God's like talking to me about that. So I appreciate that. I'll take that as from
confirmation.
The Lord. Yeah. I would say for me that this year, this has been a lifelong thing, maybe like you're saying. But the way I was raised and the year like my dad was born in 1930 and then depression and all that, we've always been raised with, and I definitely inherited like a scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
Though our lives is amazing. You know, like we've never missed a meal. You know, we have lots of clothes. We live in a beautiful home. You know, great, all that. This year I feel like God has helped me turn the corner on that. I'm not saying it's fixed or it's over, but I'm really starting to believe like, you know, every year of our life seems better than the last. Why would that ever stop? Like, you know,
how'd you realize that?
Why am I striving for, you know, even? Yeah. Well, I think I realized which thing that I can rest in it or that
like at what
I have
point
this
did you
issue.
go? Because like we've talked about scarcity versus abundance for years. Same thing with what I just said. Like I talked about this for years, and it's finally like the old cliche of like, it's gone from your brain, it dropped down into your heart. And it sounds like that's happening for you. Was it like we watched a documentary or I had a conversation?
No, I think it really is the work of the gospel to believe what's true of God.
Yeah.
And of course, and then what he says is true of us. But I really do believe I'm like a dearly loved son. So then like, but if I believe that and we're co-heirs and he owns it all, and then I look at the evidence of our life and how we live, and I'm like, why would I ever stress that? But there's always been that underlying, and I like even today I remember thinking like, hey, we've had a really wonderful year of ministry and life, and finances. All the bills got paid this year, really great, and it's all been fine, And yet I'm kind of like, but what about January? Like,
waiting for that ball to drop.
What the heck? Why would I? And Tina and I had a talk this morning, and I just said, like, I really have a very strong sense that the Father's going, don't worry about that. Because I was like, I didn't get this done this month. I didn't get this done this year. We talked about doing that this year. I didn't get this work done. But I have this piece of like, it's okay. Yeah. And it kind of goes with like, be kind to yourself about this because you can. Because you're not your own provision.
Totally.
Son.
Yeah. Hey, then God's like, well, he's going to have to eat top ramen this month because he didn't work hard enough. No.
I think there's work to do there. But that, I would say that's the biggest thing I've learned about myself and God in this last year. I think I'm finally starting to turn the corner. Boy, oh boy, late in life, right? How many years am I going to live in abundance feeling like it's all going to fall off? It's all going to fall apart. You're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And if it did, it would probably be better somehow, because God's good. He only does what's good. So, that would be probably mine. So,
it's beautiful.
Anyway, well, hey, to start to wrap things up real fast, what are you looking forward to in the next year, personally? And then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what is coming ahead on the podcast, at least in the new year, at least the plan. So
I think I'm looking forward to watching this business grow and knowing we're still young and new and but it's hopeful. Things are starting to lift already, which is kind of exciting. I think from a core of who I am, I'm really looking forward to like spending time growing in the love for myself, the kindness towards myself. Because I've recognized, like, if I can't be kind to myself, then my kids don't get to, like, I can fake it for so long, but eventually they're going to go like, Dad just always had, they're going to be smart at 35 years old. Like, it was a facade.
Right.
Like,
Or they won't learn to be kind to themselves.
Yeah.
They'll always feel that, like, they have to be really harsh on themselves as well because they're watching your example.
That's how we roll.
Totally.
You really hold yourself to crazy account, That's
why I told Kathleen, I was like, you can't fake it. It's like the dad who drinks in the closet and is like, I'm not an alcoholic. And you're like, no, you are. You just hide it. And it's going to catch, everyone knows. In the closet,
Right.
Or outside, like everyone knows. And so that's one thing for me is like the importance of being present, of going, this is the moment that we have right now. And so enjoy it and be kind to yourself and love one another. Yeah, they do.
Well, brother, I'm with you on that. And this Spirit reminds me, I'm going to be praying for that.
Thanks, man. Please do.
Really in abundance. But it's coming. I can feel it. Yeah.
Thanks.
How about you, honey? What are you looking forward to in the year ahead?
Well, I'm looking forward to booking some vacation time. That would be definitely high on the list.
Well, this vacation coming up, it technically starts like on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
We're going to start the new year with vacation week.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's a good
doing
start.
Better already.
For sure. That's the way to do it.
I'm definitely looking forward to, I think, just getting to be, given, what I've been learning about, last year and the way that God has revealed, just getting to be who I am more, and just enjoy the things the way that God has made me. And so, I've always said, I wish I could just figure out how to get paid to be a grandma. Could I just figure out how to get paid? Well, and I feel in a way that God is just saying,
3 kids, honey, and a bunch of grandkids. Can't they just start kicking in a little?
But I feel like God is saying, hey, I've already paid the way. You can be just be a grandma. And that doesn't mean that I won't work. I can't ever see us not doing what we do in ministry and stuff, but what a privilege. I just want to, like you were saying, be able to relax and enjoy the moments more and not worry about it.
That's exactly where I'm at for the new year. Because with this sense of awareness of I don't have to live with the scarcity thing anymore. Really, I'm looking forward to enjoying this amazingness at a deeper level. I think I enjoy my life and I enjoy what we do 100% and our family life, nuts and community and all that. But just that layer coming off, that's almost like a shadow. I feel like it's always just been there my whole life. You know, it was it was on my folks, it was on my grandparents, it was that kind of thing. That really is what I'm most looking forward to, along with some rest, and that's part of being kind to yourself. Is like you get to rest. We were talking about how we can pull off this 2-week vacation a couple times, 2 or 3 times this year instead of a week, right?
From a practical standpoint.
Yeah, practical. So I'm like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking for like, wow, we haven't had a 2-week like vacation in a really long time, but I think we can. Part of it's how we filled up our schedule with coaching and podcast delivery and other stuff, you know, in the incubator and all. Anyway,
it's
so
a lot, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot
but
of
it's like, and you used to help me batch these things a lot more. Now I'm kind of on a week-to-week basis. You know, every once in a while I'll do 2 in a row. But you and I used to like sit down and knock out 4
or 5 in a day.
Yeah. And I'm like, so maybe I'm looking forward to Heath coming back full time to the Everyday Disciple. I don't know. Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to enjoying all the goodness that we do have.
Yeah.
And the work we get to do at a whole new level of just ease. That's what I'm most looking forward to. I think it's just experiencing grace at another layer and another layer. You know?
Yeah. You know what you're saying, it really like I feel like God's really speaking to me right now. Like we're in the Bible, it says that the sins of the generations, you know, are visited upon.
Sins of the father, 7 generations. Yeah.
Right. And like this really is a generational thing in your family, this whole feeling of scarcity. Like from way back and probably even
Wouldn't
before
that be awesome?
your grandmother.
See, I don't think our kids live this way. Maybe I'm the last generation, and so I'm seeing God break that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. But my
family all came over from Poland, and the boots getting put to them forever.
Yeah, seriously.
Right, and then they finally made it here, and then.
But some people might say, "Oh, but the scarcity mentality is not a sin." But really, the sin is the unbelief in God's provision.
Yeah.
And so, if we believe that that sin is unbelief about what's true about God and what's therefore then true about us, then the unbelief is truly sin. Unbelief in, or that God is. Or the belief that God is not going to provide, is not somehow a good father that's going to provide for you. And so I just had that like moment of like, oh my goodness, like I never really put that in the category of what we would consider sin, because most people consider sin like the acts of doing something, you know?
But it is. It's living with unbelief.
Well, it's like
and it's not like it's so present.
Yeah.
It's like that little...
It's that creepy crawly in the back of your head.
It's that little distortion that's just running there. You're like,
it's
kind
that
of robbing your
little voice
joy.
in your ear, you know, that...
If anybody's hearing this and goes, I don't live that way, I don't understand it. But if you do, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like a little...
You know, it's funny. As you were talking, I was thinking about the words of the prodigal son, the words of the father to the oldest son. It's like, hey, you didn't have to go. This has always been yours.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I mean,
that's exactly it, brother.
And we forget that. It's like, no, it's like,
thank you. Yep.
Everything I have has always been yours. Like, you've got the ring, you've got the robe. Come party.
Like,
I can't go there.
Party every day. Like,
It's yours, man.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. So listen, in the new year ahead, it's hard to believe, but in February, we will be having our 5-year anniversary of the podcast.
Wow.
It started out called the Life School Podcast, and then we decided,
remember how young we were?
Tina was only like 30 then. So 5 years, right? So I can't even believe that. I was just hearing something recently that's like, if you've done more than 40 podcasts, you're in the top 1% of the million podcasts there are, or something like that. Right. And so with your help and many others and our guests, so I'm thankful to everyone who's been on and helped. And I really do love doing this.
We'll have to do an anniversary party. That would be fun.
Ooh, that would be so much fun.
Let's do an anniversary episode and get everybody who's ever been on the show back on.
It's a 16-hour episode.
1 sentence each. But so anyway, I'm very excited about that. Just to get to New Year, and I'm feeling a sense that it's time to start laying some foundations again. Like we're not exactly the same listeners that were with us 5 years ago, and some are, and some are brand new. And I feel like life has changed so much in these last 2 years, like we've been talking, and culture and all that. And there's a whole lot more people looking towards life and community and making disciples now, from a church and Christian perspective. So like our prayers have been answered. We're finally turning our eyes to that. So I'm feeling like in the year ahead, we're going to start relaying some of the foundational stuff that we were like, we talked about that years ago.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from in our coaching, we've been talking a lot to our coaching people like, hey, in your communities, in your church, where do you need to begin at the beginning with people who are just coming into the stream of life on mission and discipleship as a lifestyle?
Yeah.
You can't just always go for the gold and try to drop bombs and go for the new.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a little of that. I've also got some series planned. I've got at least 2 series where there'll be 7-8 part series.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not sure if I'll do them straight in a row or I'll say, okay, this is another part of that series. And I might not do them in a row, but then eventually we'll put them together in like playlists or
cool.
even make them available as a download or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
separate. But so I'm looking forward to some of that. Last year I said I was going to try a few new things. I tried a new feature this year called Something to Think About.
Something to think about.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called,
A
wasn't it?
little something, something.
Yeah, and I never got any feedback, so I think that one was like fun for me, but maybe no one else. I got 0 feedback, like that sucks or I love
Somebody
it.
give him feedback.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It was just like little quirky things.
Yeah.
And like clarified some things. So there's something to think about,
Yeah.
So I don't think that clicked, or was any big joy. So I'm like, I'm here to serve. But I am looking forward to some of these series where we get to build upon something.
Yeah.
Just a little hint, because one of them we started, I did, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes back, I did Celebration According to the Gospel.
Wow.
And so one of the series, and I'm probably most excited about this, is I'm going to do a whole lot of things in life according to the gospel.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be like racism according to the gospel, and marriage according to the gospel, and parenting according to the gospel, and scarcity according, like really go after those topics, but like how the gospel speaks directly to them.
Cool.
So,
That is
kind
awesome.
of in the gospel fluency, ramping up sort of stuff. So I'm excited about that, and I got a couple other series kind of plans coming along anyway.
You're also moving the big 3 to the big 300. So 300 takeaways from every episode.
No, I don't think we're getting rid of the big 3. That seems to still be a favorite, and I love
It's
doing
so
it.
good, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
yeah.
easy takeaways.
So anyway, thank you so much to all of you who are listening. Really, you're why we do this, and thank you for allowing us to do it another whole year, this crazy year. I know that earlier in the year, I felt like, man, the podcast numbers are blowing up because everybody was home and all. And I've seen it just ebb a little bit in the last couple months. It's like, because we get to do other things again. Fair enough, okay? But you know what you could do if you've enjoyed the show? If you're listening now, then you're a long-term listener and you love it because this is just us kind of catching up on life.
That's fun.
But would you please share the podcast? I know I bring that up a lot of times right at the beginning of the podcast, but would you please share this out? Would you take the 30 seconds it might take to say, hey, if you've not heard this yet, like you got to check this out. Text a friend, put it on your Facebook page, something.
Yeah.
That's how people find podcasts. There's really not like lots of TV ads running for podcasts.
Sure.
Or people find them relationally.
Yeah.
And if you're finding joy in this and encouragement and learning a few things, guess what? Probably some of the people you hang with and love
Absolutely.
and or lead. And now we've got people that's like on their church bulletin, like listen to this podcast.
That's awesome.
Like it's going to help you and it's going to encourage you and grow in your fluency, gospel fluency, and also. If you just share that out, that'd be my Christmas gift, and that'd be our year-end thank you for this. You don't have to, but I'd sure love it if you did. Right?
It's a lot of work, yeah.
So now, because this is like our year-end wrap-up, and it wasn't, a big topical specific thing, we don't have a big 3 for today. Okay. Other than the big 3 of us. And I love you guys. I love you so much. And I wouldn't want to have done this year-end review, this year of limbo and review without you. So thanks for being on. Tina, thank you for being my best friend ever.
Always good to be here.
Yeah. So Happy New Year to you. Some of you might not be hearing this to who knows when, but if you're hearing it right now and you're right before the new year, then Happy New Year to you. May you receive all the grace and blessing and experience that it's there, but may you experience all that God has for you too as we continue to live this lifestyle of making disciples and make disciples, live in Jesus' life. I still believe Jesus lived the best human life ever.
Yes.
And he said we get to live that life. So let's do it, right? Yeah. So while you're out there experiencing the new year, one last thought for you. Go lick someone's fingernail, all right? So,
that's my resolution for the year.
that's my resolution. All right. Happy New Year. All right.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for joining us today. For more information on this show and to get loads of free discipleship resources, visit everydaydisciple.com. And remember, you really can live with the spiritual freedom and relational peace that Jesus promised every day.